welcome back to our book talk segment of the program. Great to welcome right now. Man has written a very interesting book and very kind of a timely book as well. It is called Understanding E-Carceration, Electronic Monitoring, the Surveillance State, and the Future of Mass Incarceration. He's also the author of the award-winning, this is kind of a follow-up to that, Understanding Mass Incarceration. He's led a colorful life, to say the least. He's an activist, researcher, and writer based out in Urbana, Illinois, and he has lived there since paroling from prison in 2009, so he knows of what he speaks. And James Kilgore joined us by telephone for a few minutes today. And James, good to talk with you. How are you?
I'm fine, Doug. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great. Good to have a chance to talk with you. I read through the book and I found it very fascinating because I've heard the term of the ankle monitoring, and that's kind of what it's about. And prisoners being able to get out of there, but they're monitored very carefully, and you live this, but it is also causing a problem, as you talk about in the book. E-carceration is the term given to it, so a lot to talk about here.
Sure.
What I know you wrote the previous book, as we mentioned, Understanding Mass Incarceration. Kind of give a little background, if you would, about what you went through, if you can, in just a couple of minutes, and then how you came to write this particular book.
Well, I spent 6.5 years in prison. I was convicted of a series of violent felonies, and when I came out in 2009, I was put on an electronic monitor with house arrest, and I was only allowed out of the house Monday through Friday from 6 a.m. to 10 a.m.
Right.
So, I had some issues with that because I didn't see how that was going to help me be able to re-engage in society, and so I started trying to research it and see if there was any research out there that said a positive impact on people, and there wasn't. There still isn't, but people are still spending millions on putting these devices on people instead of providing them with the kind of supports and resources that they need in order to succeed when they come out of prison.
Yeah, I know the technology of the ankle monitoring, that's been around a while, but now, as you talk about in the book, so many other things have gone along with this type of surveillance, if you want to call it, facial recognition software, and just the way that technology can monitor people nowadays, recognition apps. And so in a sense, it's almost more of a punishment to be on this type of surveillance, or e-carceration as you call it, than maybe being in jail itself. Is that right?
Well, I don't want to say that it's worse. I want to say that it's different, but it's not. So it gets framed as if it's an alternative to incarceration, as if it's somehow making a major difference and really changing the landscape. And I think that's where the problem lies. It's not changing the landscape. It's maintaining a punitive gotcha mentality over people instead of providing them with the resources they need, and they're actually surveilled. So we're gathering more and more data from people, and with electronic monitor, as you pointed out, it's been around a long time, but it's only more recently that it's had the capacity to track and record location and send that location to the cloud with all the other data that lives there from our lives. So it becomes part of if you like, a data profile, a criminalizing data profile that can be used against you when you try to apply for housing, apply for work, apply for credit, and so forth. The data from your GPS tracker is part of that, and and people don't think about it. They just assume that they're going to give up all that data every time they log on to an app, or every time they go shopping and they go through the digital checkout.
Yeah, you make a great point in the book about that even if it isn't a case where you have been in jail and you're being surveyed that way, what are people finding out about us just from everyday life, or we go on the internet or the phone or whatever? So it's a scary thing to think of, but you add that by 100 times if you were in jail. Now you're being monitored almost second by second, whether you're going to the bathroom, you can't even go out to eat unless they know about it. It's mentally, I guess, it's even tougher to deal with that, right? As a ex-prisoner.
Absolutely, you're constantly afraid that you're going to do something wrong, and even if you don't do anything wrong, you don't totally trust the technology that it's not going to say you did. So there's a man at the moment who's on house arrest in Chicago named Mohawk Johnson, and he has recorded some 60-odd calls from the sheriff where he has a video camera. He's surveilling his surveillance, he has a video camera in his house, and he records his interactions with the sheriff when he's sitting in his living room or sleeping in his bed, and they accuse him of leaving the house without permission. And so you can't really trust the technology of these devices, that what they're recording is actually accurate, which creates a climate of fear that you're going to be sent back to prison or jail for something you never did.
Yeah, you almost have to prove that you're not doing something wrong, even if they're watching it. Right, yeah, it's a scary situation. I know we don't have a lot of time today, but you talk in the book about some ideas of what can be done or what may be done. I don't know if this e-carceration, and from what you talk about in the book, it sounds like it's growing and growing with the technology, and there's a cost to it too. I wasn't aware until I read the book that if you're a prisoner, ex-prisoner on these types of surveillance, you have to pay for that, right? There's a monthly fee.
Typically, you're paying $5, $10, $15, even $20 a day to be on these devices. So and think about, you're coming out of prison in Illinois. When you're released from prison, they give you $10. So
is that all?
What you're going to do with that $10? Yeah, and then if you get put on a monitor where you have to pay, and you can't get out to work, how are you supposed to avoid the perils of violating the rules of the electronic monitor? So it becomes a money-making scheme. But as you mentioned earlier, it's also a form of psychological, torment. But it doesn't just impact you; it impacts everybody that lives with you, all your loved ones, because they also often have to do all your basic chores. You can't go shopping. You may not be able to go, to go do your laundry. You end up having to pawn all that off, as well as the expense of your daily life, onto family members, which becomes very stressful for them and for you, because one of the things you want to do when you come out of prison is be able to contribute to your family's livelihood and welfare, and then the monitor keeps you from doing that.
Right. Yeah, I mean, obviously the point of prison is to hopefully rehabilitate somebody where they don't ever want to go back or never do go back. So that this is kind of going against that. I know some people never do get rehabilitated, but you've proven it, that you've been able to do it, but it made it a lot harder for you, didn't it, doing this e-carceration?
Sure, and I just feel that they could spend the money much more wisely on providing support for people when they come out, rather than this gotcha technology of electronic monitoring, which is trying to catch them doing something that they supposedly shouldn't be doing. I mean, I know somebody who was on a monitor. Some people can't take out their garbage because they're on the monitor.
Right.
Or I knew somebody, when he mowed his lawn, he would run out, mow one row, and then run back in the house. Wait a couple minutes till the monitor kicked in, and then mow another row. I mean,
that's crazy.
That's just so degrading to people and pointless.
Yeah, I mean, there is a sense of dignity that everybody should get, right? I mean, even if you were in prison, doesn't mean you don't deserve some dignity. So it's a difficult situation.
I think that's totally right.
Yeah. And
the monitor does not enhance your dignity, I can guarantee you.
Well, the book is very thought-provoking. I want to give the audience again a chance to get the full title: Understanding E-Carceration, Electronic Monitoring, the Surveillance State, and the Future of Mass Incarceration. And James Kilgore, again, knows of what he talks, is the author, and he's been with us for a few minutes today. James, do you have a website you want to direct people to? I know the New Press is the publisher, right?
Yeah, ChallengingEcarceration.org is the website where you can find out more information about e-carceration and also order the book.
Great. Well, James, real pleasure talking to you. It sounds like you're doing well, and we wish you to continue to do that, and hopefully we can talk to you again. Thanks for being with us.
Thanks very much, Doug. You take care. Have a good day.
I'm Stan Brock. 30 years ago, I formed Remote Area Medical to help people overseas. But then we found generations of families in America isolated by poverty from the health care they need. Together, we can take dental, vision, and medical help to 1 million adults and their kids, right here at home in the United States of America.